Black Op Radio presents 50 Reasons for 50 Years. Why the Warren Commission may be the greatest fraud perpetrated on the American public. Now your host, Len Osanic.
The discovery of a so-called sniper's nest shortly after 1 p.m. the day of the assassination provided the first hard physical evidence in the case. Evidence that to this day is considered the foundation of the lone assassin's guilt. However, as with everything else in this case, the evidence holds up only to the extent that you don't think about it. This is the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. And here, in the southeast corner, is the sniper's nest. These familiar pictures are not from November 22nd. They were actually taken 3 days later, and the sniper's nest they depict is not what was originally discovered. There is no direct photo of the alleged sniper's nest from the day of the assassination, and only 2 photos which partially depict the boxes soon after their discovery. These photos suggest the boxes were actually much closer to the east side of the window than the later recreation would have it. This may seem merely an academic distinction, except the center position of the sniper's boxes became fixed in official recreations of the assassination, including measurements involving trajectories. It is also unclear how several eyewitnesses could have seen a man firing from the window. This view shows the area behind the window lit up by the sun. But the eyewitnesses were closer, and their view of the 6th floor much steeper. A gunman seated in the sniper's nest position would have only been partially visible, if at all. On top of that, the Secret Service recreation appears to show that a gunman tracking the presidential limousine would have needed to move right across the windowsill from east to west. The boxes would have been more in the way than an asset. So what's the deal with the sniper's nest? Don't think too much about that, because 3 spent hull casings were also discovered close by. Here is Captain Will Fritz examining them. And at least 2 witnesses saw Captain Fritz pick up the casings, tampering with the crime scene before any official photographs were taken. It is clear that Fritz examined the casings. A short period of time went by, and then the official crime scene photographs were taken. These photographs show the shell casings spread apart, not close together as originally found, and seem to actually show 2 hull casings and 1 live round. In fact, all the paperwork generated between Dallas Police and FBI describes 2 shell casings and 1 live round. It took another 6 days before a 3rd shell casing was entered into the record, courtesy of Captain Fritz, with the claim it had been sitting in his office the whole time. This 3rd shell would be the only one marked to establish a chain of custody, but it also was dented, meaning it would be impossible for any bullet to fire. For its part, the Warren Commission, realizing that the evidence photos showed only 2 spent shells instead of 3, used a second photo, a photo featuring a shell crudely superimposed. But try not to think about that, because also found at the sniper's nest was a paper sack used by the assassin to smuggle his rifle into the building. Although several Dallas police officers said the remnants of a chicken lunch, including a paper bag and a soft drink bottle, was discovered in the sniper's nest, later evidence photos placed these items further away. Back in the southeast corner, the lunch bag would morph into a much larger rifle sack. And although no official photos actually show the bag in the sniper's nest, the Warren Commission helpfully drew a diagram showing its location. The Warren Commission did not reveal that the bag carried out of the School Book Depository and the bag in the Commission's archives do not match, and that a 3rd bag was found in the dead letter drop of the Dallas post office inside an envelope addressed to Lee Oswald. But it's best not to think about that either, because the assassin's rifle was discovered soon after.
There were a stack of boxes just at the head of the stairwell going downstairs. And Boone looked over into it and said, "Here it is. Here's the rifle." But we didn't touch it until Captain Fritz and Lieutenant Day got there. I believe Day pulled the rifle out and handed it to Captain Fritz. And Captain Fritz was holding the rifle up in the air, and I was standing next to Weitzman, who was standing next to Fritz, and we weren't any more than 6 or 8 inches from the rifle, and stamped right on the barrel of the rifle was 7.65 Mauser.
In fact, police officer Seymour Weitzman, who had previously owned a sporting goods store and was very familiar with firearms, would sign an affidavit the next day identifying the rifle as a Mauser. Defenders of the official story point to the film footage of the discovery of the rifle. However, eyewitnesses claim that this scene had been staged for the camera. Indeed, Police Lieutenant Day hands the rifle to Captain Fritz twice after the cameras had been reframed. Regardless, defenders of the official story claim the rifle was found, and that's that.
The Dallas Sheriff's Department said the rifle had been found in a staircase on the 5th floor of a building near the scene of the assassination. It was a 7.65 Mauser. The German-made Army rifle had a telescopic sight.
The British .303 rifle,
a bolt-action Argentine-made rifle of World War II vintage.
a high-powered Army or Japanese rifle of .25 caliber.
It's a 7.65 Mauser.
Is an Argentine 6.5 Mauser that had a 4-power scope on it.
Nevertheless, Warren Commission defenders claim that one rifle, an Italian carbine, was removed from the school book depository, and anyone questioning that is just mistaken. And the amateur footage depicting a group of officers huddled around what appears to be a different rifle, well, it's just best you don't think too much about it.
Stay tuned for the next installment as we expose week after week 50 lies the Warren Commission would like you to believe.